What's up, babes? How we doing? Um, this chapter was kind of honestly just to fill in a lot of stuff to confirm some things that a lot of people had already known. But I think it is interesting to draw some parallels and see maybe what's shaping up. If there's something I really see from this chapter, it's that Oda's probably pretty serious about ending One Piece because I think this is really like turning the corner and showing people that like this shit's ending. And not only is it ending, but the more light that is shed on it, the quicker Emu is going to be like, we need to avoid these bitches again and flood the world part 2, which they're already doing. I think as soon as Joy Boy comes out, that might be their cue to do that. But once they saw Luffy, I think that the gears were already turning. Maybe even before then with the revolutionaries, it's kind of tough to say. But everything that was happening with the raising of the water levels, them attacking Sabo, and them wanting to retrieve Vivi is something that's super important, and I'll get to that in a second. But we see some old faces. I love Damalo Black dressed as the kid pirates now. That shit's funny as hell. He's not even that far from Egghead. I don't even know how he made it this far, but he did, which is pretty impressive. Vegapunk talks about kind of knowing a lot about the poneglyphs and how he has a lot of that knowledge inside of him already. And the elders are losing it at this moment. And now confirmed 3. I mean, we might as well just confirm all 5 of them have Conqueror's Haki. But there's 2 panels of the bird. I gotta get their names down, dude, if we're gonna keep doing this. The bird and Garcia are walking around just melting these snails with Conqueror's Haki. There's a moment with Stussy. I mean, if you give a shit, I assume you guys don't because I don't give a shit. I do like what they're doing with Edison. I think Edison kind of on his deathbed, like helping the Straw Hats, and we kind of respect what he says now because he's doing that. But for the most part, I'm like, I could give less than half a shit. A couple good panels of Kaku I'm rereading, Enies Lobby, as you know. So it's cool to see. But besides that, who really cares? Who really cares? Gandhi is going to town, whooping everybody. They're lucky that he's really not causing more damage than he is. But he is fighting a lot of, I guess, high tier people at once, I guess. Not really sustaining any damage and kind of whooping everybody. I guess just showing the strength of the Giants. But like I said, I don't think there's any point in scaling the Gorosei in any way. It's just a matter of we're not seeing them take real damage. So at this point, they're invincible. So their attack power, I guess, means next to nothing. But Gandhi is actually showing that he can just kind of whip that shit out. Cutting the island in half, which we've seen from Mihawk, which we've seen from Law. But it seemed to be a pretty easy and quick thing. They're really trying to find this snail. And you would think with their infinite knowledge and wisdom that they would understand that it's probably not on the fucking island. But there they go, moving around, melting them. It still could be, and Vegapunk just has so many fail-safes in place, which is why there's so many fucking snails around that these dudes are just melting, but it's doing absolutely nothing. Because like I said, he is going to get cut off at some point, probably right before he drops the big thing, but he's already kind of filling in the blanks for the entire world. So it's nice to get this knowledge at the same time as the entire One Piece world, because then we can see how everybody's going to react. He talks about how it raises 200 meters. Now, what I find the most interesting about this, I'll get to it at the end, but 200 meters is an interesting number. And Oda doesn't really fuck around when it comes to numbers, but I'll get to that in a second. He's just talking about how it was a flood. Like I said, the Void Century was kind of just the century of flooding. Why it took that long, I'm not sure, but he's like, you can't make that drastic of a change that quickly. But things are flooding, but it's a man-made natural disaster. Those are not the same thing. It appears it's a natural change, but it's a man-made incident. That nobody can actually do that. And I'm trying to see exactly what he said. The ancient weapons technology that is capable of sinking the world. And that's kind of the most interesting part here. They have a panel of the 3 guys that have shown kings, but I have to assume that Gandhi and I have to assume the worm have it. I don't know what the worm's doing right now. I assume that he's looking underground right now to see if there's anything there that he can destroy. But he doesn't seem to be having much success either. But it's talking about how the Great War is continuing on, which I love. Which I love because that's going to make the end of One Piece so much more beautiful when Luffy accomplishes Joy Boy's mission at the end of it all. Destroying Emu, destroying the Red Line, whatever it is, just putting an end to the war and freeing everybody from this prison that's been there, but nobody's been able to see it until Vegapunk's kind of spilling the beans. But that ends the chapter. So he talks about how the Great War is still ongoing. We get a solid look of Emu, which give me something. Give me like a nose. Give me something. This guy's been a silhouette for too long, in my opinion. But hey, whatever. The big reveal will eventually come. Not a whole lot of new stuff going on in this chapter, but I think there's some things that we can start to put together. And my biggest thing is, what has Emu said? I think I've said this a couple times in the last few chapters, but what's most important to him? And at the top of that list, it was killing the man who saw him, Sabo. But I think even more on top of that, it was using whatever that weapon, ancient weapon, his power, whatever that was in the sky, using that to make sure it works well. And the fact that it's close so that he can kind of just like retrieve it really quick. But that was his top priority. And in second place, it was retrieving Vivi, which I want to say that she's probably the key, because they have the Mother Flame now. They're going to get it, which is endless energy. But I don't think they have the key to necessarily use whatever world sinking technology that they have. And I think Vivi is probably the key through Uranus, but it's kind of tough to say. But that was second. And on the third one was Vegapunk and Egghead Island, which is insane. Which is insane because on Egghead Island, at that point when they said that, they already knew that Joy Boy, I don't know why I did this, Joy Boy was on the island. And on top of that, so was Vegapunk. So you have the smartest guy and your biggest problem. And the two things that are more important than that are testing your weapon and destroying the guy who saw you, and retrieving Vivi. Because I don't even think Vegapunk understands that someone sits at the top. I think he's going to get there. I think he's going to get there and people are going to be like, what? And then it's probably going to get cut off. But he's like, if my calculations are correct, some dude is up there right now. And that's probably when they're going to be able to destroy whatever communications going out. It's just interesting to me that those are the three in order of what he wanted done. Because obviously Egghead is a huge problem right now, but he still prioritized the other ones. Why that is, I don't know. Now, the parallel that I want to talk about before I end is after destroying one island, which I'm forgetting at this, Lelouch Kingdom, 2 meters, the water level rose. And we saw how much devastation that caused throughout all the blues. 200 meters over 100 years. Now, if we do some simple math, that's basically 2 meters a year for 100 years to get that to change. But what they didn't have before was the Mother Flame. So my thinking is, this thing can't be used all the time unless we get this Mother Flame, which is basically endless energy that he's created. So he's going to be whipping this thing out. And if he's going to do that, the world's going to get crazy quick. He's going to be sinking islands left and right, and people are going to be forced to sea, which I kind of think is what's going to happen. And that's kind of where Pluton is going to take effect. I don't know how they activate that. I don't know if that's Vivi's key. She's the key to something. I don't know what it is, but she's the key to something. Could be Pluton, could be Uranus, not sure. We already know that there's a parallel between Vivi and Uranus. We just don't really know what that is. It could just be the kingdom, it could be nothing at all. But Vivi is very important. If they do unlock that, then that's how they destroy people at sea and cause this great void century. But this century, what happened over a century of time is going to happen so much quicker. Sadly because of Vegapunk, but he's at least bringing this all to light. If the maths, if they're sinking one island per year and that raises 2, and now they have this endless energy source that can sink islands however much and frequently that they want to do, this is going to happen really quick, which is why I say it looks like One Piece is going to be, it's really turning the corner now, because I think that they're going to start destroying islands quickly. The sea level is going to rise, danger is going to ensue, and the entire world is going to be involved. And I'm excited to see it, but this confirms that, for me at least, Vivi is going to be captured. I don't know how that's going to look, but she is not safe right now at all. At all. I don't know who's going to go and get her, but that's what's super important here. The Gorosei might do that on their way home. They might be able to find her some type of way. The bird goes out there, which honestly, the bird's carrying hard right now. He's like the dude doing what seems like the most. But it's just interesting. Like that, think about those 3 things from the horse's mouth, Emu himself, the silhouette that we've seen 100 times talking about. That's the order of importance. But why? But why? I like that the ancient weapons are finally being talked about like this. If you asked me like 10 years ago, I would have already thought we'd know what the ancient weapons were. But it seems like they're super mega important, probably created by Joy Boy's civilization, and it's going to cause the end of the world. That Luffy's going to stop eventually. But that's it for this chapter. We don't have a break next week, which is excellent because Vegapunk might actually drop some bombs on us, but I guess we'll wait and see. You guys have a blessed weekend, and I'll catch you.